A world without generosity would be very lonely, because if you are unable to share your experience with the next person, you feel despair. So without generosity, the world would be a cold, sad place.
My name is Ndanze. We are having a regional summit as Giving Tuesday, and I'm happy and looking forward to it.
My name is Asha Curran, and I'm CEO of Giving Tuesday, which means that I run the organization that supports our network of global leaders. Giving Tuesday, the day started out being very much about fundraising, and it started out being very much about organized institutions, like nonprofits, CSOs. Now I think it's much more, it is still about those things, but it's also about people, about families, about young people, about schools, about houses of worship, and how generosity can look in all of those places. So it's really broadened.
We are 12 years old. We say Giving Tuesday is about to be a teenager. And we've really spent the decade building together, all of us, this incredible global network, which is really, in my experience, unique in all the world among networks in philanthropy, in community organizing, in global development. There's just nothing like this, this community.
Now, in the past couple of years, the trend that I'm seeing is more of a trend toward human connection and combating things like polarization and social isolation, and how generosity can be an antidote to those things. And I think that's a really wonderful trend at this moment in human history. So when we are all living in this time where we feel afraid and we sometimes feel disconnected from our communities, hopefully this day is a celebration of the change we can make.
Fantastic.
Super.
So I have this. It's my little African basket, and we all know what baskets are for. But for this purpose, we're going to use it to give and receive. I give you.
Je vous le donne. Je reçois.
I'm Amira Shenge from Sierra Leone. This is about Giving Tuesday, which is a world network. I say world network because it is in America, in Europe, and in Africa. So Giving Tuesday is promoting generosity at all costs, just to ensure that we're able to provide for each other, the little that we can. It's not just about money, as I can say. Your time, you can teach people, you can tell them stories, you can smile to them. These are all acts of generosity. And Giving Tuesday isn't asking for much. We are just acting a little, just a little of your generosity, which can change or impact the life of someone somewhere in the world.
My name is Christopher Warman. I am the Chief Global Strategy and Partnerships Officer at Giving Tuesday, and I work with all of our global teams, our country partners around the world, to try to understand what we're learning as a movement. It's been a very challenging year on the global stage. In some very local ways, floods; in some very global ways, some of the geopolitical conflicts that have been happening. The good news in many ways is, in some ways that doesn't matter when it comes to generosity. A lot of the data that we've seen, a lot of the data that we capture on a weekly basis around the world says that people are very happy to give in the best of times as well as the worst of times.
This work is important now more than ever. That the world, as Asha mentioned earlier, is getting harder. To that I would add hotter. And that we really have a duty to ourselves, to this movement, to our communities, to our families, to think about what generosity means and help get people engaged in solidarity, resilience, and this work to ensure that we're all there for each other as the world does get a little more difficult each day.
Giving Tuesday it's an annual celebration of a year-round movement. And I think this year we're curious to see as well, will the numbers go up around the world or not? In some ways that's easy for us to tell. In some countries, it's very easy to get the data. In other countries, it's not. And That's okay. It's something we're working on, something that we're building new partnerships here at this event to understand who are the different people that might want to understand what does African generosity as the baseline in community resilience, in participation in civic life, what does it actually look like so that we can do better at supporting it?
One of the generosity traditions from Nigeria that is very common with Nigerians is when you give birth. Your mother-in-law will come just to take care of you and just to ensure that you're eating well, you're sleeping well, and you're not stressing yourself. And so for that period of time, you'll just be resting practically.
From South Africa, we live by the value of Ubuntu, which is you are because I am. And what the summit has done, it has shown me that we are indeed a village. Giving Tuesday is a community where nobody gets left behind. My success is your success and my challenge is your challenge. And so I really see myself when I am within this context of being within the Giving Tuesday community. My name is Naivasha. I am the Giving Tuesday South Africa country lead.
The way many people in the nonprofit sector looked at generosity was very, very narrow. How much money is being given to registered charitable organizations and how many people are participating in that? It was very clear that we needed a much broader understanding of people's generosity behavior, even if that was the outcome we cared most about. If we don't understand people and their giving more broadly, we're not going to be able to meet them where they are.
Africans give a lot all the time. African people are giving in their communities in many, many ways. Compared to other places in the world, African giving tends to skew a little bit less toward monetary giving and a little bit more toward giving things. We also saw over the last year a noticeable shift toward giving to formalized organizations as well as are sometimes called informal organizations, but we consider kind of community groups and mutual aid, which are still a very powerful way that Africans give in their community. But we're seeing that is being augmented now with a slight increase in giving to formalized organizations as well. I'm Woodrow. I'm the Chief Data Officer for Giving Tuesday Global.
Yes, this is a global movement, but to give it a more meaning and for it to be more impactful, you have to bring it home. You have to localize it.
My experience at the summit so far, we've been able to be in different boardroom spaces, having conversations on the concept of generosity. So through this program that we've been here in the last four days, been able to also network with others from different parts of Africa. We have Nigeria, Ghana, and other different countries that I've been able to learn what they are doing as a way to give back to either their community or to their environment.
I didn't know all the rules when I started Giving Tuesday, right? And that's a really good thing if you bring fresh perspective and fresh eyes. So I did a lot of things in my career, but I was not in sort of what I would call the giving economy. So everything I've learned through the lens of Giving Tuesday. And it's an incredible field to be in because giving is a universal value and it speaks to every community on earth.
There's another statement that I really, really admired. I heard about a few years ago from Giving Tuesday, and that statement has to do with movement. And I think the statement says it is not a movement unless it moves without you. So it's simple when you hear a statement like that, but it's also so true, right?
My name is CJ Jala. I am the global leader for Giving Tuesday Liberia. I joined Giving Tuesday several years ago because I was frustrated about how charity work is done in Africa or in Liberia, specifically when it comes to fundraising and donations. When people join Giving Tuesday for so many reasons, some people join because they're young people and they're just interested in being generous or doing something in their communities. And then there are folks like us who want this work to spread in our respective countries. And so we join for that reason. But I think the worst reason to join Giving Tuesday is if you just want to get funding for your organization, or you just need some sort of media publicity. Those are the wrong reasons to join Giving Tuesday, because this movement is more about how can we make sure the problems in the country you're coming from are targeted and are resolved. They're not about you as an individual.
So far, the summit has been life-changing, learning from different people and the different activities that they are carrying out in their respective countries. It just gives me an idea of what I should do when I go back to Zambia and see what we can change.
Together we stand and divided we fall. There are so much knowledge within the movement. The systems are well and running because the movement has been there for the longest time. So it is just to harness your personal skills in way to impact other people's. So this is a very good movement. I would encourage anyone, anywhere to join this movement.